Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? I hope you are well. Tonight I'm going to attempt using watercolor pigment as a substitute for calligraphy ink. Thanks to Lorraine's video the other day, I thought to myself, okay, I should give it a try. I have made a few attempts in the past to use watercolor pigment, but I found that it wasn't exactly my thing, probably because of various different factors, such as well, my then ignorance on the use of the pointed pen. I have only been doing this for a year. Number two, probably the nibs that I'm using, because I think I wasn't exactly that well versed in the nibs that I was trying out. But this nib, the blue pumpkin, seems to take watercolor ink pretty well. Sorry, watercolor pigments pretty well. Now, why would modern calligraphy artists love using watercolors instead of well, the traditional calligraphy ink? Well, the first reason, I believe, is its accessibility. Oops. Here in the Philippines, we have a shop or a store named National Bookstore. They don't just sell books, of course. They do sell art supplies as well, which means you will eventually find yourself purchasing watercolors, watercolor brushes, etc. And of course, obviously, calligraphy ink may be more expensive than your regular tube or your regular set of watercolor. I'm currently using a preferred set of watercolors from Nevskaya Palitra. It's called White Nights, and then I also have other brands such as Shin, as well as Daniel Smith. I started out with student grade ones, but I realized since I am a watercolor artist by profession, I need to make my life a little easier. So that's the first reason I think people will try watercolor pigment as opposed to the traditional calligraphy ink. You can find it almost anywhere, especially if you live in more remote areas. The second reason, I think, is of course a direct benefit from watercolor in general. It's portable. You can literally take it with you in a small bag, and all you need to find is a body of water or just a water source. You can even bring a bottle of water with you. Unlike with calligraphy ink, you have to be extremely careful how you pack it up, how you carry it, because based on personal experience, it's very easy to mess up the insides of a bag and subsequently the contents of it because you did not wrap your bottle up with plastic, or you didn't close it correctly, or it just breaks. I wasted a lot of paper because of that. I felt bad, so I didn't do calligraphy for a while. But thankfully, art finds its way like little drops of water on rock. So there you go. It is portable, and a lot safer to carry, in my opinion, than your traditional bottles of ink. The third one and I think this is the biggest reason people use it as opposed to the alternative, is its ease of use. That isn't saying that calligraphy ink isn't easy to use once you've practiced with it and once you've found your perfect combination, so to speak. But I noticed with watercolor pigment, you can literally start off with one color and then just transition it to a multitude of other colors without having to clean your nib, or without having to find a different receptacle for your ink. Because traditionally when you use calligraphy ink, you can't just keep dipping from one bottle to the next, because it risks contaminating bottle A with the contents of bottle B and so on. But somehow watercolor calligraphy encourages this quote-unquote contamination. You can start out with a simple flourish of just one color, pardon me, and then let it transform into something entirely different. And all you have to do is change color. That's it. All there is to it. Obviously it has its ups and downs, it has its pros and cons. I'm not going to talk about that in detail, but I did discover one thing. If your paint if your paint is of an artist grade, or let's say of a lower tier quality than not, it will of course fade in time, just like a normal painting. So I recommend trying it out by getting a single color, maybe two, if you want to play around, because the whole idea of Calligraphy Spot is it encourages playtime. You have to thank Lorraine and Hans and Pau and all the other long-time members, because I would never have reached this level of enthusiasm for the craft if not for their own encouragement. So there you have it: accessibility, portability, and ease of use. Try it yourself.